On May 25, 2020, in Westerville, Ohio, Emily Noble, a 52-year-old woman, vanished without a trace. She had just celebrated her birthday the night before with her husband, Matheau Moore. 4 months later, her body was found in a wooded area near their home. A USB cord was wrapped tightly around her neck. Authorities asked themselves, was this a suicide, or has something far more sinister happened? Emily's body was taken in by the Delaware County Coroner's Office, and an autopsy established she may have been murdered. She had suffocated to death. The examination conducted as well confirmed that she had been dead for about 4 months. This is Strawberry Inc., and tonight we're digging into the case of Emily Noble. Westerville, Ohio is a quiet suburb north of Columbus. On the night of May 24, 2020, Emily Noble and her husband, Matheau Moore, went out to celebrate her birthday. They visited a few places, returned home, and according to Matheau, went to bed. The next morning, Matheau woke up and claimed Emily was gone. No note, no sign of struggle, just gone. He waited hours before reporting her missing. Her family was alarmed. Emily wasn't the type of person to just vanish. She was quiet, reserved, and deeply devoted to her late son, James, who was nicknamed Joey and had died by suicide, hanging himself. And now she had simply disappeared without a trace. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months. Then on September 16, 2020, 4 months after she vanished, a search party found Emily's remains in a wooded area near her home. The cause of death? Well, that's where things got complicated. Emily's body was found hanging from a tree, a USB cord wrapped around her neck. The scene had all the markings of a suicide, but the autopsy told a different story. The coroner found signs of blunt force trauma to her head, multiple fractures that couldn't be explained by hanging alone. This raised a critical question. Had somebody killed Emily and staged a look like a suicide? Investigators looked at the man closest to her husband, Matheau Moore. There was no one else that seemed like the kind of person who could have killed Emily. The Westerville Police Department arrested Moore in June 2021 after questioning him at their home and took him to their station. He did not resist and was fully cooperative. Moore denied ever being involved with her death or disappearance. Before the arrest, he had been indicted on 2 unclassified charges of murder and 1 second-degree felonious assault crime. Shortly after, Matheau Moore was booked into the Delaware County Jail, a jail full of white trash. He then pleaded not guilty to the charges. Delaware County District Judge David Gormley set Matheau Moore's bond to $2.5 million, an amount that he could not afford was set because prosecutor Mark Sleeper believed Moore was a flight risk and may tamper the case's evidence if released. Therefore, he remained in jail to await trial. His defense argued something shocking. The medical examiner had it wrong. On his behalf, Moore's attorney, Court Gatterdam, filed a motion to have a speedy trial because he just wanted to get this case over with. The trial began in August 2022, and it was one of the most polarizing cases in Ohio. The prosecution claimed Moore had killed Emily during an argument, staged her body in the woods, and waited months before her remains were discovered. The defense encountered that Emily had taken her own life, and the injuries to her skull were actually from decomposition and animal activity. There was no DNA evidence, no eyewitnesses, and no confession. Then, after a trial that had gripped Westerville, the jury found Matheau Moore not guilty on all charges. Moore walked out of court a free man. Some saw him as an innocent husband wrongly accused. Others believe he had gotten away with murder. He was then brought back to the Delaware County Jail for the last time and released to his family. After his acquittal, Moore wrote a book entitled Emily, a Staged Suicide in Ohio, where he shared his side of the story. But the biggest question still lingers. Did Emily Noble die by her own hand, or was her death something far darker? That's for you to decide. The court where the trial was held is in downtown Delaware, Ohio. Surrounding this court are a bunch of neighborhoods with white trash. People who request money to you and then never pay it back and make excuses to get away. Let me add, you run into the white supremacist who says I'm gonna beat you up for stupid reasons. And as well, that whore who does people dirty, and that whore who eats organic food all the time, the middle-aged kind of whore, as well as younger whores. Anyways, I'm not gonna take up any more of your time. This has been Strawberry Inc. Stay curious, stay questioning, and as always, be careful with who you trust. Have a good week and a good President's Day. Till next time, goodbye.